Okay, we are live on air. So let me just do a quick check to make sure this is up and running on the website for our audience.
I got an error.
Okay,
we are live on air. So
okay, I can see you guys. Must be your computer, Dr. Joe.
I'm not surprised.
It's running though. So okay.
Right, for our audience.
Okay, sounds like you got it on your end too.
Yep.
Okay, so man, thanks for being on this hangout tonight, guys, and just taking an opportunity to answer some of the questions that people have in your community about health and wellness. And we've got a lot of great questions for you guys to answer tonight.
Okay.
So first of all, I just want to say that what you guys are doing is just absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't know of any other doctor in your area or even in the state of New Jersey that is willing to take time out of their evening away from their family to sit down and actually answer questions live from the residents in your community. I mean, this is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, no wonder you guys are New Jersey's most loved chiropractors. This is absolutely fantastic.
Our pleasure.
Okay, so first question we've got tonight is actually coming from Chris, and what Chris wants to know, he says, Dr. Hudak or Dr. Tuzo, my dad has been taking blood pressure medication for years, but his blood pressure still remains high. What are some things he could do to lower it without having to take medication? I thought I saw on the Today Show a couple of years ago that chiropractic adjustments can lower blood pressure. Is this true?
Yes, Chris, absolutely. Outside of diet and exercises, lifestyle changes, meditation, over the past couple of years, chiropractic has really shown some research with upper cervical, specifically the atlas vertebra. And we know that atlas used to hold the world upon his shoulders, so that's the first vertebra in the neck that holds the skull on top of the spine. So I actually printed out one of the research articles, so I'll just summarize things. If you go to PubMed and research chiropractic and blood pressure, you'll find well over a dozen research articles. But the one that I pulled up is amazing because there's a medical doctor that remarks, special chiropractic adjustment significantly lowers blood pressure with a placebo-controlled study, okay, which means that there's people that are receiving chiropractic and those that are not. The procedure has the effect of not one but two blood pressure medications given in combination, the study leader, Dr. George Bacris, MD, stated. And a quote, and it seems to be adverse event free. We saw no side effects, zero side effects and no problems, adds Dr. Bacris, who's the director of University of Chicago Hypertension Center. Basically, it was an 8-week study undergoing procedure. There was 25 patients with early stage high blood pressure that had significantly lower blood pressure than 25 similar patients who underwent a sham or a fake chiropractic adjustment. Because patients couldn't feel the technique, they were unable to tell which group they were in. X-rays showed the procedure realigned the atlas vertebra, which is that top bone in the neck, and compared to the sham-treated patients, those who got real procedure saw an average of 14-point drop in their systolic blood pressure, which is the top number, and an average of 8-point greater drop in diastolic blood pressure, which is the bottom number. None of these patients took blood pressure medication during this 8-week study. Amazing research.
Wow, that's a very significant drop in blood pressure. And I mean, that's very similar to what a pill does, but you have all the adverse effects, the side effects that come along with the drug.
Oh, that's what we say all the time. The reason why drugs need prescriptions is because they're dangerous. Every drug on the market has side effects, and most drugs have multiple, if not dozens, of side effects. So for this medical doctor to say it was adverse event free with zero side effects and no problems, we know chiropractic's safe.
Yeah, so anybody out there suffering with blood pressure should at least maybe consult with a chiropractor.
Absolutely. Have a thorough examination, evaluation to see if there is any disturbances in the nervous system. And then
And if they live in the Edison, New Jersey area or the surrounding communities, hit up Hudak Chiropractic.
Sure, why not?
Well, Dr. Joe, here's another question. This one comes from Aaron.
Yeah.
What type of protein powder do you suggest is the best to use?
There's a lot of different protein supplements on the market, and it seems that every professional bodybuilder is endorsing one of these products, whether they use it or not. So going through a lot of these, and carbohydrates, really important for someone that's looking to use protein powder from either a weight loss standpoint or a bodybuilding standpoint. They're really conscious of their carbohydrate intake. With that said, most of these are zero-carb shakes, so the sugars are taken out, and they're replaced with some of the synthetic sweeteners that we know have a multitude of side effects and problems because it's not a natural product, or even the alcohol sugars. But I've discovered over the years, through my bodybuilding and own personal research, a company called Revolutionary Technology Nutrition, and the abbreviation is RTN. Their website actually is revolutionarynutrition.com. Their benchmark product is Bionic Edge Whey Protein. And what I love about this whey protein, there's no artificial chemicals, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial flavoring. It's gluten-free. There's no casein. There's no MSG. There's no aspartame. There's no sucralose. There's no acetylfame K, and there's no artificial colors. It's almost unheard of in the protein and sports supplement industry.
Yeah, no kidding. That sounds like amazing.
Yeah, so Bionic Edge Whey Protein by Revolutionary Technology Nutrition, RTN.
Okay, awesome. Well, Dr. Jeff, here, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So, this question comes from Kristen. She wants to know, how does sitting at a desk all day at work affect your back?
Okay, well, first of all, your body's designed to move. So if you're not moving, it's not working the way it's supposed to anyway. Sitting at a desk, depending on what you're doing, most people have a computer in front of them, so they tend to be hunched over a little bit, shoulders rolled in, neck is pointed down, because your laptop or your monitor should be about eye level. Your keyboard should be, when you sit at your chair and you bend your armrest should be right where you bend your arm, so you shouldn't have it too high that your shoulder's raised. It shouldn't be too low that your arm is reaching for it. Your keyboard and mouse should be right where your hands end up as you bend your arms naturally. Now the other problem is sitting shortens the hamstring muscle. So your pelvis, when you go to stand up, everything's tighter because it's been shortened for such a long period of time. Now everything's tight and it starts pulling in different directions. So there's actually a company that has a desk that's standing just for ergonomic reasons. I think it's Varidesk, VARIDESK.com, and they have a desk that you can stand at it. You can also adjust it in and out for you, which is really great because now you're upright. So you don't have to stand all day. You can sit and stand, or if you for some reason you're having trouble sitting, you can stand. Some people sit on a ball because it uses your core more, so you're actually not relaxed. You actually have to, and they even have chairs that put you in a different position so that the gravity works with you, not against you. Because sitting is actually the worst position for your spine. It puts the most pressure on the joints of the lumbar spine. So you don't want to do it for long periods of time. People need to get up, move around, stretch, open everything up, take deep breaths, go to the water cooler, come back at least once an hour.
And why is sitting one of the worst positions for your spine? Is there an actual reason for that, or is it just because it's uncomfortable?
No, because it loads the spine. So all that pressure, when you're laying down, gravity's not working against you. When you're standing up, it's working against you a little bit, but you have the curves in your spine that are there designed to handle that weight. Like if you look at, the Romans used to build the curves, right, in their in their walls and the doorways. They have the curve because it handles a lot of pressure. But when you sit down, now you change that. You change your position totally. So you get a lot of loading on the facet joints of the lumbar spine, and over time, it's wear and tear. Because, people don't just sit either. They slump, they reach back for something out of the printer. They sit. Ladies have to be, oh, I'm a lady, I have to cross my legs, and they cross the same leg all the time, which shifts their hips, that kind of thing. It's just repetition and habit. It's like a repetition injury almost.
Okay, gotcha. So, Dr. Joe, we've got a question from Mary. She wants to know, why did you want to become a chiropractor? And how did you get started in this profession, in your profession? And I think this would be a good question for both of you to answer. So, Dr. Joe, why don't you take it first, and then Dr. Jeff, you can answer after.
Okay. Sure. I share this story all the time, and it's the reason why I jump out of bed and hit the floor as fast as I do every morning, because I'm so passionate about what I do. I'll paint a picture. I was the third and last born in the family. And I was about a year old, and every time I stood up, I'd fall to the left. And then my parents decided to take me back to the doctor, not for an exchange or a refund, but for a checkup to see what was going on. And the doctor said, well, back then with the technology, there wasn't that much technology for diagnostics, so they took an X-ray of my pelvis. And there's a test where you grab the baby's ankles and you push them back. I believe it's called Ortolani's test. And it checks to see if the hip sockets are in the ball and socket. So 95% of all hip dislocations are anterior or in front of the pelvis. So as you do Ortolani's test, you would notice that you would see the ball and socket stick through the skin a little bit. If you knew that it wasn't inside the joint, it would come out through the skin. Well, I was 5% of the population of hip dislocations. Mine was posterior or behind the pelvis. So when they checked it, they didn't see that bone rise. But on X-ray, they realized that I had a dislocated hip. Now, I was a little over a year old, maybe a year and a half, and because of that, the fact I had no weight-bearing stress, my femur bone in my left leg did not grow as long as the right one. So still to this day, my left leg is 1.25 inches short. I keep my tailor really busy taking in all my pain. But I'll fast forward. What ended up happening was I wore the Forrest Gump style braces, the corrective shoes with the steel inserts, and I slept with my feet like this at night. And I was on a number of medications, from steroid to pain relaxers to muscle relievers to anti-inflammatories. And because of that, I was about 30% overweight as a child. So the picture I'm painting is a kid with steel braces, borderline obese, is not the #1 draft pick for the kickball team at recess. So we know how fourth graders can be, right? So it was around 8th grade, and somebody recommended that my parents take me to a chiropractor. They said a bone and muscle doctor, and I went in, and he talked about positive mental attitude and talked about my pelvis and exercise and diet and rest and everything that I talk about in my book. And within a year, I was off out of the braces at that time. I was off all my medications, and I was playing junior varsity football in high school. So a complete turnaround in my life in about 2 years. And I knew that this was something I wanted to do, and I specifically wanted to help adolescents and children, and I specifically wanted to work with people with traumatic birth syndromes and dislocated hips like myself, as well as some athletic injuries.
Oh, very cool story, very inspiring.
Thank you.
Dr. Jeff, how about yourself?
Actually, I wanted to be a brain surgeon, and at the time, my grandmother was dying of cancer. So when I went in to speak to the doctors on her behalf, she had 3 of them, each one gave me a different answer. And none of them would say they didn't know what the problem was. None of them would say that the other one was wrong, but they couldn't all be right. So the whole philosophy behind the medical community did not resonate with me. I like to solve the problem, not treat the symptom. And I didn't because she was treated very coldly because they were dealing with her condition, not her. I didn't like the whole way things were done. So a friend of mine happened to be in chiropractic college at the time, said, why don't you come down and take a look? It's the same as medical school because we get the same exact training. We get more in diagnostics. They get more in pharmacology because they treat drugs. As a profession, they choose to use drugs for treatment. We as a profession choose not to. So I went down there. I saw my friend, saw the school, saw what one chiropractic adjustment can do, and I said, why would I do anything else? I can head it off at the school. And I said, I'm going to be a chiropractor.
awesome. So that's cool that like you switch gears like that from going to be a brain surgeon
Well,
to
it's
being a chiropractor.
yeah. I thought
Go ahead.
it was, I thought, wow, brain. I'm going to really do a lot of good and help a lot of people. And then the more I talked to some of the doctors, I just like, man, I just don't. I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I don't want to just make a lot of money. I want to help people. I don't want to just, oh, well, he's a brain surgeon, that guy. So what? Everything is either cut. You got to mask the symptom with a drug or cut the hand off. You don't feel the pain anymore. Well, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, here's another question for you, Dr. Jeff.
Yeah.
This one actually comes from Diana, and she actually has a series of questions here.
Okay.
And if you guys want to split these, what's that?
I didn't hear what you said.
What did you say?
I said great.
I was asking you what you. Oh, great. And if you guys want to split these up, you can. But the first question she wants to know is, how can you control your weight after 65? That's the first question.
That's easy.
And then I'll read that. We'll answer that one first, and then we'll go through and answer the others.
Okay. It's very simple. Number one, we said the body's designed to move, so you don't want to slow down if you don't have to, because a lot of our patients have arthritis, and the more we make them move, the less arthritis they have. So that's number one. Two, it's their diet. Diet is 80 to 90% of everything we do. It's the biggest drug we have that they don't call a drug, okay? Because everything you put in your body makes a chemical reaction. So a lot of our patients that we notice, because I just talked to one of the patients the other day about this, she's having a lot of pain, and I said, well, we take a pH strip and we put it in their mouths, and we can see she's very acidic. Well, you're acidic because of your inflammatory diet. But I don't eat sugar. No, you don't eat sugar, but you have a donut that's made of easy things that turn to sugar easily. Or you have, well, I don't add sugar to my coffee, but I add this creamer that has a bunch of high fructose corn syrup in it. So they don't really understand the conversation that this becomes sugar to get into your system. So they think just by not adding sugar, they're not eating sugar, which makes you inflamed, plus a lot of other things that we eat that make us inflammatory. So when you look at what you eat, and of course, when you're over 65, a lot of people don't want to eat anymore because they don't smell the food as much, they don't taste it as well. So once those senses start to go, they don't really feel like they want it. If they're not as active, they're definitely not going to want it because they're not expelling the calories, so their body doesn't feel like it needs it. So you want to stay active, and you want to eat the right foods more often. Just like same thing as when you're younger. The body is a machine, and it does the same thing at 65 that it does at 25. The difference is you may eat and be more active at 25, so you may want to cut down the calories at 65. But if you're more active, I have a 94-year-old patient. She dances 3 times a week. 3 times a week. She's 94. I got 30-year-olds that come in and can't walk. So, if you're eating the right stuff, your body will do the right thing with it. It's what you put in that you get out.
Yeah, speaking of that, I think I saw something floating around Facebook just the other day. This lady was like 78 years old. She does like these bodybuilding competitions, but she didn't start until she was like 65 or something like that. She's like powerlifting. She's like picking up like 240-pound bars and stuff. Like it was very impressive, but it just shows you what you just said, the potential of the human body. It functions just the same at 80 as it does at 25. It's just what you're doing with it.
Right, and you get consistency is the key. You have to be consistent. You can't do the work to change a bad diet. So if you can go work out a couple of times, you'll never outwork the bad diet. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to eat cake every day, I don't care how much you work out, you're going to get heavy. You can't do it. You've got to eat right, and you got to eat more often. And you got to look at what you're putting in your mouth, more fruits and vegetables, et cetera, et cetera. And as long as you got it up in your mind that it can be done, then it can be done. But people go, oh, I'm a girl, I don't want to lift weights, I'm going to get big. No, you're not. You don't have the same testosterone as a man. You won't get big. It'll never happen. You'll get really toned, and you'll look really good.
Right. And you said, just real quick before we go on to the next question, you were talking about, eating fruits and stuff and eating the right foods and all that. And I think you might have even mentioned it, and Dr. Hudak and I were talking about this earlier today, that sometimes people confuse what's actually what's fruit. And I'll give you an example. My mother-in-law was eating this bag of dried apricots that were like covered in sugar. And she was like, we were talking, and she's like, I eat fruit. I eat fruit all the time. And I was like, when? When do you eat fruit? And she was like, well, I eat these like every day. And it was like, there's like 38 grams of sugar in each serving of it.
Listen, people eat avocado because it's a great fat source. It's a good fat for your body. But if you have 5 avocados a day, that's too much fat. You shouldn't even have one whole one a day. Maybe a half, something like that in your salad. You got people that eat nuts, and they're like, well, nuts are healthy for you. Sure they are. Not in a pound a day, because what you're putting in is way too much. You don't need that much. Nuts and seeds that are high in fat are great if you're out in the wilderness and you don't know where your next meal is going to come and you want to survive. By all means, load up. But when you're eating every day normally, you don't need a handful of, 3 handfuls of nuts because you're having a drink with them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, I hear you completely. Well, here's the second part of her question, and she actually has 3 here total, but here's the second part. Diana also wants to know, is there anything that can be done other than stretches to help lower back pain?
Absolutely. First of all, you want to definitely stay hydrated because your discs are 70% water. So the more hydration you have in there, chances are they'll fill up a little bit more. You'll take pressure off the nerves there. Your body, when you have more fluid in your body, your blood is 90% water. So the more water you have in your system, well, your blood's going to move really well, which means you get blood to the joints, you get blood to the muscles, everything's flowing the way it's supposed to. Plus, you're detoxing more with a lot of water. Water is a big part of what we do. You should be drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you're a 200-pound man, you want to drink 100 ounces a day. Okay? Water is a big way to relax your muscles because then they become more pliable. So if they're not as tight, you don't have as much pain. And if the water's a funny thing because it can be alkaline or acidic, right? We happen to have an alkaline system in the office because we know that our lifestyles are very acidic. So we go more alkaline because when you're alkaline, you are less prone to pain and inflammation. So the more alkaline you are, the less pain you have. Ergo, less back pain. But it's every pain. Remember they used to take the Doan's pills for back pain? How did the pill know where to go? It didn't. It went everywhere, right? It's the same thing. What you're doing for one little area of your body, you're doing for your entire body. So you eat right, you drink plenty of fluid, and you got to get up and move. The body was designed to move. So you can't sit in one position and let your body, all those muscles get tight and short and tight and short, and then you go to move and you go, oh, why can't I move? And you move too fast because you haven't moved in so long. You don't have any blood flow in there. When you walk around and you move, blood gets in and out of the joints, it gets in and out of the muscles, and you got to move. Got to move.
Okay. Excellent advice. Here's the last part, her third part of her question. She also wants to know, is there anything to help sleep? Any exercises, minerals, or herbs?
Okay. So there are nutrient supplements you can take. However, one of the biggest things for sleep is your pattern of your activity. So you want to try and go to sleep the same time every night. You want to try and get up the same time every day. You want to make sure that your sleep environment is quiet. You don't want a lot of light. You don't want a lot of noise. You want to take, like, even the light from the TV, the blue light around you. You want to stop that kind of stuff. You don't want to exercise 2 to 4 hours before you go to bed. You definitely don't want to eat or drink before then. You want to just bring yourself down naturally. So that's and you want to watch, even if you're going to watch TV a couple hours before, think about what you're watching, because whatever you watch or read or do before you go to bed, your brain's going to still process that. So if you're watching the news and you see rape, murder, fire, well, you get to go have a dream about that, whether you remember it or not. So that's why a lot of people like to read books, or they have a something they're working on for work. And what you do is you read the thing, for, like, let's say it's a memo about what you're trying to work on, or some project. Well, you go over it before you go to bed, and while you're sleeping, your brain will work on it. You might just wake up and go, hey, I figured out that problem. But you want to do it in a low light so that your body can start to shut down and get quiet and get, to where it needs to be. So that I think is the best thing, is setting up your environment for sleep the way you need to. In a comfortable position, the right amount of pillows, because if you're sleeping on your back or your side, it's the way to go. You do not want to sleep on your stomach. That's the worst thing for you, because you get a pooch belly, puts a lot of pressure in the lower back, and you have to kink your neck to breathe. So that's no good for you. And you won't get a real restful sleep, which is what you want, so that you can rest and repair.
Right. Yeah, and they bring up a good point too about creating that environment. One of the problems I personally have is, like, I'll take my iPhone back there with me, and, like, I'm still, like, sitting there flipping through, answering emails and things, and then I wonder why I can't fall asleep.
Right.
Okay. Here's a question for. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm usually waking up to go to the gym when you're still just about to turn your computer off, and I get your text message in the middle of the night.
I know, right? I hit Dr. Joe up at 5 o'clock the other morning. I was getting ready to go to sleep, and he was just getting up.
He tells me.
Well, Dr. Joe, here's a good question for you. This one comes from Catherine, and this actually kind of plays a little bit off of what Dr. Jeff just said when he was talking about the news. She says, how does positive thinking affect pain or pain tolerance? And and when I say, it kind of plays off his previous answer to his question, is I know, watching the news puts a lot of negative thoughts and energy into our brain and our minds. So how does positive thinking affect pain and pain tolerance?
Well, interesting enough, I say, is there any other type of thinking besides positive thinking? Right? So in my opinion, if you're going to think positive. And if you're going to dream big. But there's a ton of research out there. Whenever we do these interviews, I look at my own answer response to some things, and when talking about the facts and sharing statistics, there's a lot of research out there that shows even in surgeries, minor surgeries, they're bringing in guided people to do guided meditation instead of anesthesia. Because when you get from the beta to the alpha to the theta into those delta waves in a meditative or positive state, and you're hearing these positive affirmations over and over through a guided visualization, it's actually shown to increase the endorphins and the enkephalins, which are the pain modulators. And they've measured this in studies, and they showed that the response has been almost twice that of morphine. So yes, so there's a definite connection. Deepak Chopra talks about psychoneuroimmunology. Psycho meaning mind, neuro meaning nervous system, immunology meaning immune system. So we put it all together. There's this new field of study, it's not really new, that the mind has control over our nervous system, which we know, and also directly affects our immune system. How many times you hear somebody sneeze in a workplace and say, "Oh, I'm going to get sick"? Well, congratulations. I can't wait for you to prove yourself right. Right? Well, oh, he must have caught a bug. Which bug? The same bug that was in my building? Because I don't catch the bug. Because I don't believe I'm a victim to pathogens and viruses. I have a healthy immune system. So thoughts are things. I believe what we think about, we bring about. What we fear the most, we get the most. But when it comes to the research, one article that I came across, giving patients expectations of a positive outcome from a routine minor surgical procedure, not done in a hospital, but we're talking about something done in an outpatient service. There was over 140 people, and the researcher Tetsuo Koyama, MD, PhD, is a postdoctoral fellow at Wake Forest University Baptist Medical Center. In his news release, he said that telling patients about a positive outcome had a 28% decrease in their pain ratings following outpatient surgery. So almost a third better by just telling them that they're having an outcome. Another research article where it wasn't a surgical procedure, but they exposed these patients to a different level of heat, and they took 3 different groups, and they told them how they would experience the pain from the heat. And interestingly enough, the heat was only 115 degrees. So it was like a warm day in South Florida in August. So it wasn't dangerous. But there was a 38% lower response of pain being noted in the people that they told they wouldn't feel pain. And the people that they told that they were going to experience excruciating pain were screaming on the top of the lungs in the research article. So thoughts are things, what we think about, we bring about. And it definitely, through psychoneuroimmunology, can release these endorphins and enkephalins, which are our pain modulators. So it's proven in science.
Yeah, a couple of things with that, just real quick. One, when my wife was pregnant, we did a natural birth, and so she used no drugs. She was actually in labor for 38 hours. No drugs, but she used like this meditative, she had bought this thing online, this course, someone had told her about it, and it was like a CD set, whatever, and she put on the headphones, and she said it helped tremendously, like with the pain. Like she still had some pain, but like she's like it really seemed to help like not keep it as bad as it could have been, I guess, you know. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that when you talk about positive thinking and like, you know, what you said about people are like, oh, he's, you know, you're going to catch the bug sort of thing. Recently in my household, like my mother-in-law came by, she was sick. My wife ended up getting sick, and then my daughter got sick, and my wife was like, well, she's like, you know, you're probably going to get sick too. And I'm like, I'm not getting sick. And she was just like, well, all right, but, you know, just warning you, don't get close to me, you know, because you might get sick. I was like, no, I don't get sick. And, like, sure enough, man, I didn't get sick. Like, so, I mean, I think that's just proof right there that germs don't cause sickness and that, you know, your mindset can have a huge impact on that.
If germs actually cause disease, we'd all be dead. We'd all be sick all the time. Right? So, I mean, how does two people that work in the same environment and eat the same lunch in the same cafeteria, one gets sick and one doesn't? I was at a St. Patrick's Day party a couple weeks ago, and one of the guys who's a, you know, executive for a major Fortune 500 company, he's like, oh, Joe, don't come near me. I'm sick. I'm like, I have a strong immune system. I get adjusted, work out, sleep, meditate. I said, I shook his hand. I forced him to shake my hand. And when I was done, I took my hand and I took my glasses off and I wiped my hand all over my face. I said, I don't believe that germs cause disease. Of course, you know, everybody in the neighborhood looks at us as the wacky family, but.
Yeah, you're crazy. What is this guy doing? Yeah, that's awesome. What a great testimony to that. So here's another question. This one's for Dr. Jeff. This one comes from Mike. And Mike wants to know, should older adults, 80 and up, decrease their number of chiropractic adjustments?
Well, I would personally, it depends on the individual. There's no, the way we figure out how many adjustments you need is based on each individual case. So some people need more, some people need less. It doesn't matter their age. So their age is not a factor in whether or not they get adjusted and how often. Like my oldest patient was 104. My youngest was 5 days old. So each individual case is an individual case. So that's why we have people come in, because number one, we need to see if it's something that I can help you with or not. And then once you come in, we decide, okay, based on what's going on with you, this is what you're going to need, depending on what phase of care you're in. So if you're 80 and things are going really well and you're really healthy, you're not going to need nearly as many adjustments as someone who's 65, but they've got this going on and that going on, and they can't do this and they can't do that and this hurt. Well, they're going to need a lot more. So you may need less, you may not, because someone who's like my 94-year-old patient, she comes in once every 2 weeks because she knows that when she's not getting adjusted regularly, she does not function nearly as well as when she's getting adjusted. So each person is totally individual on that.
Okay, makes total sense. So here is, I believe this is the last question of the evening.
Okay.
And this is Amy. Amy's got a 3-part question as well.
Okay.
And she wants to know, first of all, yeah, people want to know a lot, man. They don't want to take the opportunity to answer just one question. They want to answer. They want all, you know, they want as many questions as they can get answered.
Okay.
So here's the first part. First question is, what if I don't experience back pain? Do I need chiropractic?
Awesome. Basically, if you have a spine, you need chiropractic. Unfortunately, people don't wear their spine on their face, because if they did, they'd see it every day and go, oh my God, I gotta get adjusted. So the way chiropractic works is this. Does it help you get out of pain? Absolutely. But it's an expensive aspirin, right? Only 9% of your nerves tell us about pain. So what about the other 91%? So in our office, we deal with 100% of your nervous system. You have pain, we're more than happy to take care of that, but that's the quick and easy thing. Pain is the last thing to show up and the first thing to go. The problem is, what was wrong way before you got that pain? Because you started out healthy, and you slowly worked down and worked down and worked down, and then the symptoms showed up. And then you came and saw me because you went to 6 other doctors and nobody could help you, so now you're in my office. Now 2 weeks go by, sometimes the first day, and you're out of pain. And I tell you, you're going to have good days and bad days. On the good days, don't overdo it, and on the bad days, remember it's a process. Because just as you started healthy and worked your way down to this pain level, now you've got to work your way all the way back up to health. So just because the symptoms disappear doesn't mean you're out of the clear yet. So we try to explain that to patients. Like, for example, if you had cancer or diabetes, it doesn't show up the first day you have it. They find it 6 months to a year down the road. But if you get up in the middle of the night and you're perfectly healthy and you stub your toe, You're in pain. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It's a proper response. So you have to look at that. And it's a difficult concept for some people to understand, but we like, if I had my way, everyone would get their spine checked on a regular basis because everything functions at a higher level. I have people that come see me because they're bodybuilders and they're not symmetrical and they want to be symmetrical. They're running in high school track and they can't get over the hurdle because their body doesn't move the way it's supposed to, and all of a sudden they're winning everything after they come see us. I have little girls that are tough. The 14, 16-year-olds that do the dance competitions and the cheerleading, they're tough. They're like, Doc, can I go to my cheer? I have 2 competitions this Saturday. I go, well, do you want to walk for a living, or do you what are you doing? They're like, but I got to go. I'm like, listen, you're a base. You're going to have girls on top of you. If you get hurt, you're going to hurt them. Oh, maybe I won't go. But if it wasn't for that, they wrap it up really tight and they go out there and kill themselves. So we take it very seriously when people come in. Are you going to do this for a living? Are you a professional that's getting paid for this and your livelihood depends on it? Take a break. You got to rest and repair. We're going to realign your pelvis. We're going to do everything we can to help you. I have women that come in because they're trying to get pregnant. They don't have low back pain yet. They're not even pregnant yet. So they come in because if their pelvis isn't lined up, number one, they can't hold the baby itself, and number two, the nerves from the lumbar spine go to the organs that produce the progesterone and all the correct chemicals to have conception and to hold the baby and keep it going. So we tell people we get a lot of women pregnant in our office. Sometimes I forget when you say that, But basically, it's not for pain, is what I'm saying. We have kids that come in. It's not because they're in pain. They want to be healthier. There's a direct link between the nervous system and the immune system. So when you're getting adjusted, Dr. Joe's not going to get sick because his immune system's at a much higher level. So it doesn't matter if you're sick, which is actually expressing health, as we like to say. He's not going to get it because his immune system is going to defend it the way it's designed to.
Right. And that's a good point. Like, I started getting adjusted 18 years ago. It'll be 18 years this July. And I originally started getting adjusted because I was getting like anywhere from 4 to 5 headaches a week, and that had gone on from the age of 14 to the age of 21. And I got introduced to chiropractic, and my headaches went away. Like, I haven't had a headache. I've had maybe half a dozen headaches like in the last 18 years. So I think that justifies saying like I don't have headaches. But yes. But the thing is that I still get adjusted. I get adjusted every week, once a week, and I only do it to really help keep my body aligned, keep my nervous system maintained and functioning as best as it can. So I personally don't use chiropractic for pain. I did in the beginning, but now it's more of a lifestyle choice for me.
Right, and that's up to me to educate you, and then you make your own choice. Exactly. I wish everybody was like you and used it on a regular basis just to make sure that they're as healthy as they can be, because they're going to get sick anyway. If you're smoking 4 packs a day, I don't care how many times you get adjusted, you're going to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, totally. Well, here's the second part of this was this Amy's question, I believe? Oh yeah, Amy's question. The second part is, can you use chiropractic as a general physician? So I guess she wants to know, instead of having a general physician, can your general physician basically be a chiropractor?
Well, here's the thing. People refer to us as back doctors. We're really nervous system doctors or spinal column doctors. It just happens to be that your nervous system is located in your back. And that's how we deliver our adjustments. If the nervous system was located in your left leg, I guess we'd be called left leg doctors, right? So we don't necessarily work on the back. We use it as a vehicle. That's where the circuit breaker of your home lies, is in your spine. So when you're having a problem down your leg or a problem down your arm, we trace it back to the circuit box and we hit the switch, put the vertebra back in place, turn power onto the nervous system. So we realize that nerve just doesn't run down the leg. That nerve also controls your reproductive system, your digestive system. So we've had patients pull us aside, some elderly men, say, "Hey doc, things downstairs are working a little better." And I'm like, "Oh, great. What are you talking about?" So, and then we're talking about, Bob Dole's problem, right? So we're talking about erectile dysfunction. And I explained, let's go back to look at your film. You had an L4, L5 impingement of the nerve that runs down the leg, but it also goes to your reproductive organs. So if I put a clothespin on the nerve that went to your reproductive organ, over time, how do you think your reproductive organ would work with 40% less nerve impulse? it would work 40% less, at least. So to summarize, basically, you look to Dorland's medical dictionary. They talk about the central nervous system, the CNS, which is brain and spinal cord. And that's what we analyze and detect. And Dorland says that the central nervous system controls and coordinates every living cell, muscle, tissue, and organ system in the body and relates it and adapts it to its environment. So everything from blinking your eye to wiggling your finger to making love with the reproductive organs functioning properly is all under direct control of the nervous system. So chiropractor's job is to make sure the nervous system's functioning properly, and then the rest of the body will function properly.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And that's really one of the reasons why I've chosen chiropractic for the last 18 years. As that's my primary care doctor is my chiropractor. Like, I've been to the medical doctor like twice in 18 years, and I really contributed just to the fact that I've been making sure my nervous system has been working well, and my chiropractor's been doing an excellent job of it. I'm here in Texas. If I were in Edison, New Jersey, I'd be coming to you guys, no doubt. But yeah, that definitely makes sense.
There's something called crisis care also, Chris. Mm-hmm. If I walk out of my office and we're right next to the fire department, and I got hit by a fire truck screaming down the block, I'm not going to be carried back in and have Dr. Jeff adjust. Well, maybe get adjusted and then go to the hospital. And we always say chiropractic first, drugs second, and surgery last. There's a place for crisis care. I haven't had a prescription drug in my body in almost 30 years. But I get hit by that fire truck, you can inject morphine in my eyeball. Just give it to me. But so there is crisis care that's often needed. So
right.
Let me use that as a disclaimer. It's perfect.
Okay. Well, here's the final question. Again, this is Amy's part of her 3-part question. She wants to know, can chiropractic help with sleep? And not only one of you answer that, but also maybe explain like how it helps with sleep, if it actually does?
Yeah, it does. Other than the other things we discussed earlier, if your nervous system isn't functioning properly, then you're not functioning properly. And that, like we just said from the definition, your organs are not producing the right hormones and chemicals that you need. That's one way. Another way is, think about this. If you had a pebble in your shoe and you walked from your house to the car, it might irritate you a little bit. But if you walk around with that pebble in your shoe all day, by the end of the day, you're going to want to kill people because you're going to be so irritated. And you don't even realize it's just a pebble in your shoe that's causing that. Well, it's the same thing. You irritate the nerves or the spinal joints themselves, and you're walking around with that for years. Now everything gets tight, everything gets tense, and you can't sleep because your chemicals are off, your hormones are off, your muscles are tight, you're not comfortable, you don't know why, you're just irritated all the time. Well, you come see me, we analyze your spine, we make an adjustment, your body goes, oh, now you could actually get some rest and repair. Because if you don't rest, you don't repair. So it's like a catch-22. I can't rest because I'm having problems, but now I can't repair because I don't rest. Well, now I have more problems, and now I can't rest. And it just goes circle and circle and circle. So we have a lot of people that we tell them, because we do a lot of extra training in our office with technique-wise, with nutrition, with water system, you name it. We're always looking for something to help improve what we do for our patients to help them as quickly as possible. And one of those things is an upper cervical technique that we do. And a lot of times we'll say to someone, now look, this is your first time you've ever been adjusted in your life. When you go home, you might want to go to bed. Just go to bed, because you're going to want to shut down and repair, because that's what your body knows how to do, what it's got to do. It's designed to heal itself. It's a self-regulating, self-healing organism. Before Neosporin and Band-Aids, your body made a scab, and it did that to protect the area so that it could heal underneath it. And then all of a sudden the scab washed off and it looks like brand new, right? So it's a self-healing, self-regulating organism. All we do is remove the nervous system interference for the brain to communicate with the body, and the body knows what it needs. So like Dr. Joe was saying earlier, let's say the nerve to the small intestines, which is where you absorb most of your nutrients, if that's interfered with, I don't care what you eat, you're not absorbing the nutrients. It doesn't matter. You've got to clear that pathway, which is where we come in. However, you still need to eat the right foods to get the nutrients. So if you're eating cake all day, you're not getting the right fats, you're not getting the right minerals, you're not getting the right vitamins. So you have to eat the right thing and make sure that the connection between the brain and the body is working properly for everything to work the way it's supposed to. And then once that happens, sleep is no problem.
Wow. Good stuff, guys. Excellent. Man, you guys answered everybody's question. Thank you for taking time out to do this. If people were watching this and they want to get a hold of you and they want to sit down and have a consult or talk to you guys a little bit more about possibly what you can do for them and maybe some of the health challenges that they're possibly going through, or even if they're just looking, like if there's somebody like me and they're just like, hey, you know what, like I want to incorporate chiropractic into my healthy lifestyle because I'd like a better functioning immune system too. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, the best thing to do is just call the office and schedule your first consultation. And our phone number is 732-661-0800. But if you really need some testimonials and some success stories from hundreds of our patients, they're all located on our website. And that's www.hudak, Hudak, chiropractic, chiropractic center.com.
Okay, awesome. And I know you guys have some excellent Google reviews. So if people just Google Hudak Chiropractic Center, Edison, New Jersey, they'll see all the reviews on there as well. So, well, thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. And we're going to sign off. And I guess we just want everybody to remember that health is a journey, not a destination. And in the meantime, love and wisdom to you.
Thanks, Chris. Bye now.